The air inside the shooting range was heavy with the sharp tang of gunpowder and the faint hum of fluorescent lights. Most people hardly noticed the quiet old man who shuffled in that afternoon. His jacket was worn, his hands slightly trembling as he carried a small case. Some of the younger shooters exchanged glances, smirking as if certain he didn't belong. They expected misfires, fumbling, maybe even laughter at his expense. What they got instead left the entire room frozen in silence. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. He placed his case on the bench and unlatched it with care. Inside lay an old rifle, the wood polished from years of use, the kind of weapon that seemed out of place among the sleek black metal of modern firearms. His eyes lingered on it as though greeting an old friend, and for a moment, the noise of the room faded into memory. He remembered deserts and jungles, storms and silence, the faces of men he once led, some of whom never came home. The others at the range whispered, "What's he doing with that antique?" One young man muttered. Another laughed softly. Yet the old man said nothing. He adjusted his stance slowly, as if measuring the earth beneath his boots, steadying not just his body but his heart. His hands, though weathered, no longer shook when they wrapped around the rifle's grip. That he inhaled, let the breath linger, then exhaled. The first shot cracked through the air like lightning splitting the sky. The bullet found the dead center of the target. A hush spread across the room. He fired again and again, each shot landing with unerring precision, forming a single dark hole where the bullseye had been. The crowd shifted uneasily. The smirks were gone, replaced by something else, respect laced with disbelief. A young soldier, practicing on the lane beside him, lowered his weapon and just stared. He recognized the kind of control, the discipline. This was not luck. This was mastery born of years and battles no civilian could imagine. But the old man's thoughts weren't on the crowd. Each shot carried with it a memory, the brotherhood of men who stood shoulder to shoulder, the unbearable weight of choices made in combat, the long silence that followed. He wasn't here to show off. He was here to remember, and in remembering, to honor. As he reloaded, one of the younger men who had mocked him earlier whispered, "Who is he?" Nobody answered, but the question hung heavy in the air. Another round of shots rang out, flawless as before. The soldier watching him finally spoke, his voice quiet but carrying through the range. "That's not practice. That's a lifetime of service." For a moment, even the old man hesitated, lowering his rifle as the words reached him. He looked around at the younger faces staring back, wide-eyed, reverent. They were not mocking him now. They were seeing him, truly seeing him, perhaps for the first time in years. That he packed up his rifle, slow and deliberate, the way one closes the final page of a book. But as he turned to leave, the soldier stepped forward and snapped to attention, saluting sharply. Others followed, clumsy but sincere, until the entire range stood in silence, heads bowed slightly. The old man's eyes glistened. He returned the salute with a trembling hand, his heart heavy but full. The truth was undeniable. Respect isn't demanded. It's earned, and it never fades. Because skill can be forgotten, and strength can wither, but honor remains. He walked out into the sunlight, the air crisp on his skin. For a man who had once carried the weight of war, this quiet moment of recognition was enough. Because kindness doesn't vanish. It waits, and it finds its way back. And sometimes, the quietest man in the room holds the loudest story. If this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. Stories like this remind us that courage lives on, often in the people we least expect.